Have you ever found yourself swiping your card or tapping pay later just to be part of an experience everyone is raving about, only to regret it when the bills start rolling in? What's up, everyone? I'm Dominic, aka FiliSwissed, and welcome to the Buckle Up podcast where we reflect, unlearn, and navigate the chaos of adulting one bumpy detour at a time. Buckle up because life comes with detours, not directions. Today, we're diving deep into the world of music festivals and how they might be draining your wallet more than you think. Planning ahead and making mindful choices isn't just about saving money, it's about making experiences truly worth it. And if you want more ways to truly enjoy these once in a lifetime moments without the stress of financial regrets, give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell for more real talk on living your best life without breaking the bank. And while you're here, tell me, what was your biggest festival shock or regret? Drop your stories in the comments below. Let's start with the basics. Today, we're spoiled with choices. Plenty of music festivals for every musical taste. Are you going to be there to see one or two artists only? Could you watch them in a concert that would probably cost less instead? I'm all for giving ourselves what we deserve for working really hard in our jobs and want to use the money we make to treat ourselves, but maybe not like this. You're digging yourself your own debt grave. If money is already tight, does opting to use buy now, pay later services like Klarna or Afterpay to finance these leisure experiences really help? You're not escaping the bill, but making future you deal with it. I was lucky to be sponsored two VIP tickets at the open air Frauenfeld, where I went with my friend Daniela, and it was the only time we camped for an open air because we only continued to go now to the Zurich open air, and she stays over at my place since the location is close to the city. So attendees can easily go home and come back refreshed the next day. If you don't live close enough to get home the same night by public transport or don't have a car and you can't afford maybe a nearby accommodation because, well, prices are high, then yes, you might opt for camping. I just checked the festival's info about camping and it looks like you would actually need to look for a campsite nearby. So I guess that's why I couldn't find the price for camping, although they used to have it. But for the camping experience at the OAF, we brought food that would keep without needing to be refrigerated. So that would be brunch, and we would only pay for dinners and drinks. I already know the food would be pricey, so it will be an expensive weekend for me to eat there. While I couldn't find the average prices of food at the Zurich open air, I still have my video from last year's open air when they first had Just Eat deliver food from the stands so we didn't have to wait in line anymore. But 12 francs for a crepe and 11 francs for churros. I could get churros at a restaurant like La Taqueria for 8.90 francs. And when you're there, it's practically expected that you will buy food and drinks there. You can't even bring a bottle of water inside the grounds, but you can bring an empty PET bottle and then fill it with water from the free drinking water stations. I also know that there will be drinks served with light cups that my friend and I make our way to get them, and we will not see our deposit anymore because we take them home as souvenirs. All of this is taken into account when planning for this experience. It's not unexpected or last minute, it's planned and budgeted. I've not just been talking your ears off about changing spending habits, but it is the reason why I could have these experiences every year. I pay for a 3-day VIP ticket just so I can use a cleaner toilet when I need and have a decent spot to watch the performances. Unless I want to be close to the stage like I did for Kings of Leon, David Guetta, The Killers, Martin Garrix, Macklemore, and that's just because I was really immersing myself in the music. I think it was last year that they split the Zurich open air to two weekends instead of having it the whole week straight. So if you buy the weekend VIP pass, that's 349 francs. And if you want to go on both weekends, then you need to pay 579 francs. So if it turns out that the artists you want to see are spread across the two weekends, then you need to decide whether or not you can afford it or if there's someone you can skip. It might be a tough choice, but that's part of being an adult. Sorry. Let's say you do manage to budget for the experience. Congratulations. But not every experience might be worth it. I've been thinking about whether or not it's still worth it to go or to get the VIP tickets, even though I prefer the toilets there, simply because year after year, something always happens to ruin the vibe. Last year, I was with my friends sitting at the table watching one of the performances in VIP, and this group of friends, I don't know how old or young they were, but they would yell across the table because some of their friends were at the other end and the others at our end standing. Not just that, but they tossed their filthy, used, and broken wooden fork in my bag. Disgusting and disrespectful. The year before that, again at the table, a man tried to strangle a kid. Yes, you heard me right. Strangle. I think the boy might have been 13 or something, but that was just wild. Something came over me and I smacked the table, pointed at the man, and shouted to get his attention that he was being violent or aggressive. I can't remember exactly what I said. He didn't stop. So I started yelling for security, loud enough for the people around to do the same and get someone fast, like the game passed the message. So it didn't take long for security to get there. I don't know how drunk he was or if he was on something, but the woman he was with was just watching and just chilling. Was that a grin or a smile on her face? I can't remember how big it was. I don't get these people. I relayed what I saw to the security, then we left the VIP area to cool off. It took a while for me to calm down while walking around the grounds, and Daniela, bless her, was trying so hard to lift my spirits back up, but I needed time to calm down. Also, every year, as if my height isn't obvious enough for some people, there are jerks who squeeze in the crowd and even position themselves right in front of me or my friend. I'm thinking, you're a giant compared to me. You can still see the stage much better than I can from behind me. Like, am I supposed to watch your back? Make it make sense. No, really, it's irritating. And last year, there were even two women behind us who saw this, and they even tried to get the guy to realize this and move, but he just ignored it. The performance hadn't even started yet, and that was already happening. So the question for me now is not if I can afford it, but the presence of these buzzkills in my face every year, it's not worth it anymore. It's not that I'm surprised because when we went to the open air Frauenfeld, someone tossed their phone at the artist who had to stop mid performance and called out who owned it. I don't know if it just slipped from the attendee's hand doing this motion or if it was on purpose and intentional, but during that music festival, 20 Minuten, a free daily newspaper in Switzerland, already covered the brutality and violence when fans who gained unauthorized access to the stages were violently pushed off by the security personnel of the artists without regard for potential injuries. Even the artist is caught on camera kicking the fan himself. More than enough videos surfaced on social media about this. Seriously reconsidering. It's not really the atmosphere I would like to be in if it's just going to be so negative or increasingly negative every year. But this year's Coachella was all over TikTok and X. I think maybe Reddit as well for various reasons. You have your typical videos of the performances, the best and worst outfits list, but it was apparently messy this year. According to the Daily Mail article, the attendees branded as worst in history and being compared to the infamous Fire Festival. It kicks off with waiting for as long as 12 hours to even get to the security check with no access to porta potties until they reach the security checkpoint inside the gates. Can you imagine being stuck in a car for about 8 to 12 hours or so from 2 a.m. until 3 p.m. without access to a toilet? I mean, I'm already buying tickets specifically for a cleaner toilet, and imagine that. Lucky if your camper van has a toilet, but majority didn't come with a camper van, let alone one with a toilet. Fireworks during Green Day's performance misfired and exploded into an area near a crowd of people while also setting a tree on fire. That poor tree. Don't get me wrong, if you've been following me here or on my socials, you know I like going to music festivals. In general, it is a nice experience, especially if you're there for the music. When your favorite artists come to town, you get to immerse yourself in their music live, feeling the vibrations on your chest. I remember nearly tearing up watching Kings of Leon live. While I'm starting to notice negative experiences more and more at these festivals, I got curious about Coachella's decline, so of course I went to Reddit and found a thread how Coachella became the worst music festival and another thread, Coachella's slowest ticket sales in a decade, with references to articles published last year. So this was already happening before, right? Let's look at the replies. So this one says the problem with Coachella, as with most things and places, is the people that go there. They're the worst, absolute worst. Not there for the music, they're there to pose. I think this was Instagram Chella, but okay. They're just there to say that they're there. I was going to say this before. Okay, so this was before he read the article that the OP posted. So we saw a lot of these when we were at the open air Frauenfeld. Of course, I also did my job, but I also watched the performances and enjoyed it. All right, let's look at another one. My only complaint about camping this year, my fourth time camping there, was the cleaning of the porta potties was significantly worse. The men's stalls were filled with poop. 70% of the time, I tried to find clean ones. Luck of the draw, maybe, but by far my worst experience yet with bathrooms. Yeah, that is exactly why I get VIP tickets at the Zurich Open Air. When we were at the open air Frauenfeld, I needed to use the loo since we were drinking. Instead of walking all the way back outside of the festival grounds to the paid toilets, I thought I could just go and use the free toys at the festival grounds. I slowly opened one and I was in shock. I freaked out seeing a mountain pile of poop on the toilet seat. How did that person miss? So we left the festival grounds to use the cleaner paid toilets instead, even if we had to keep walking back and forth. All right, let's look at another one. Honestly, I think there's a lot of bloat of music festivals. Maybe I'm just old, but I went to many of the big hitters every year between 2005 and 2018. Mostly Bonnaroo, but Lola, ACL, and a few smaller ones. The lineups used to be incredible, but there wasn't near as many big festivals. It was pretty much Coachella, Bonnaroo, Lollapalooza, and ACL to a bit of a smaller extent. Now there's a billion festivals. The bands are divided up across all of them. So the end is that the quality of bands at one festival isn't as high as it used to be. Kind of similar to the Netflix comment made. Netflix used to be one of the only games in town. It was awesome. You had to subscribe to Netflix, but now there's a billion streaming services and all the content is spread out. So Netflix is a shell of what it used to be. Music festivals are a shell of what they used to be 10 to 15 years ago, except with better bathrooms now. Eh. So this person has a better experience with the bathrooms, but I can see the comparison with Netflix. Potential headliners who would make the experience incredible, as it used to be, are difficult to set up now when they're spread out across different festivals. I mentioned this already that as an attendee, you might need to choose which weekend to go or even which day if you can't afford to go on both weekends. All right, let's look at this one. I may be off base here, but I see modern audiences as less artist oriented, more general interest in being in a place where some kind of music of the sort they like is playing. It's more like booking a vacation around skiing, and which mountain you pick isn't really important. There's plenty of good ones, but when all the ranges double the price, a lot of people decide, well, skiing is expensive, maybe I should try hang gliding or go to some smaller mountain with fewer people and a cooler vibe anyway. I agree with this user about being less artist oriented. Last month, I was thinking about how I used to know every song in every album I owned from the artists I was listening to, from Britney Spears, Hilary Duff, and JoJo to My Chemical Romance, Newfound Glory, Hey Monday, and more. I stopped when I started using Spotify. At the time, I was happy to discover new songs and new artists, but there was never a follow through to listen to the whole album because either the next song was good or I'd arrived at my destination. And now I'm not even discovering new music on Spotify. It just continues to present me music or artists similar to the ones I've already liked and assumes that's all I want to hear. I don't feel the same appreciation in music as I once had because of this. That's enough replies for now. There's just so many to choose from that we could make an entire episode just for that. Maybe you want that. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you do. Towards the end of high school, Coachella was talked about constantly, apart from Burning Man and Tomorrowland. But the public image of Coachella has been declining through the years. So I checked Reddit to see which years were the best, and here are the best years of Coachella based on the thread. It's not a full representation of everyone who has gone to Coachella, but just from this thread, the first place is 2023, Frank Chella and Blackpink. Second place is 2012 with Hologram Tupac. Then we have the third place, 2013, which was Baychella. I think Beyonce also had another one later on, but it wasn't in the running in the top five. Then top four, you had 2014, and top five, it was a tie between 2015 and 2019. So apart from 2023, it looks like the best years of Coachella, at least according to this thread, were from 2012 to 2019. So I don't think music festivals will go away, but it could be reduced if the value isn't perceived to be worth it. If there will be less festivals, then maybe there would be a better chance of having better lineups. This would also mean less to spend to see your favorite artists perform live. Are music festivals still worth it when you're just hoping the next year will be decent enough? If you're borrowing against your future for just a weekend selfie, maybe it's time to rethink. Maybe fewer festivals could mean better lineups. Maybe it's okay to skip a year. Maybe we can save that money for something even more meaningful. Let me know what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments. That's all we have for today. Don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss future videos. I'll see you in the next one.